Three, two, one. Good morning, Vietnam. Is that how that works? Or am I in the wrong show? Good evening, guys. For those of you that are old enough to get the reference I made, hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully my technical difficulties are not here. Hopefully everything's going fine. I can't tell because of the stupid delay on YouTube. And there we go. I'm really sorry about the delays. You guys, I see you guys in chat scheduled it ahead of time. Think I'm getting the ball together. I'm like, yeah, good. I got the schedule. I got the YouTube video. I set it up on Friday for ready for Sunday. And my problem is I'm running Windows 7. And I think I figured it out. And the problem with that is Microsoft isn't supporting Windows 7 anymore. And it was fine when I had a completely updated version of Windows 7 until I had the big computer crash issue and had to reformat my drive and do all that stuff and reinstall Windows. But the problem now is when you reinstall Windows, you get the base version of Windows from when was Windows 7? Like 2012 or something. And all those updates that they've been doing, I don't have. So, and when I run Windows Updater now on my machine, it literally just like, here, you need to run these updates, and you do it, and it just fails every time. And I was like, oh, God, I'm not in a position to buy a new version of Windows, especially for this aging PC, which is serving me really well because when I bought it, it was a super high-end gaming machine, I just haven't had any need to upgrade it. Anyways, you don't want to hear my sob stories. Let's see who's number one today. Was Ed. Good to see you, Ed. Eric Bring was second. Fantastic. I don't get to talk enough with Eric anymore. We got to fix that, Eric. Jimmy is number 3, gets the bronze medal. He says sup. Computer Robot says it's Ash and Eric time. It's always Ash and Eric time. Let's see. Dane says, hey, Brian, watch your 3 videos and subscribe to your channel. Can't believe I never thought to see if you had one. Love the Naughty Corner video. Hilarious. Dude, Breen is a hilarious dude. I've been trying to get this dude to collaborate with me. My problem is I don't have anything to offer. I wish I was rich and I could pay him to be like, come do a show with me. I think the dude has a lot of talent and personality, and that explains why so many people love him. So I'm glad to see you, buddy, in the chat. This guy has just been a good supporter of my channel and me as a friend for a while. Much like a lot of you guys now. You guys, most of the people I see in the chat have really been, here for a while. And I've gotten to know some good people. So, Computer Robots, good to see you. Dane, Tehillim, Tehillim there's a few more people who've been like a loyal listener to the nonsense that I have to say than Tehillim. So, many shout outs to him. Let's see who else. I got so much chat and I am so behind. I'm trying to go through. So what happened real quick though was at about 9:20 tonight. I know I'm going on air at 10. I'm like 9:20. I look and my machine's kind of running sluggish because I don't turn my machine off like I leave it running all the time. And I'm like, it's kind of running sluggish. I haven't restarted. And to avoid any problems, I got 40 minutes, plenty of time. Even if it's something mess, I'll reboot right now. So I do, and I'm rebooting. And of course, you get the thing. Well, this happens all the time. It really drives me nuts. I was wanting to throw something because when it's shutting down, you get the shutdown message and says, please wait while Windows configures updates, which I'm like, this is bullshit. Windows won't install any updates, won't even be able to download. So it just sits there on that screen, and it sits there, and it sits there for like a half an hour. And it tempts me to just hard shut off the machine because you're like, this is going to, but if you do that, you create even more problems. So I'm just like, wait it through. I got plenty of time. I did 40 minutes ahead. And it finally shuts off and starts rebooting, and it's like getting real close to 10. It's like 9:50 or getting close, and it's booting up. And the problem is when it does one of these reboots and it does the whole update thing, even though it's not installing updates, it reboots like as if it is installing updates, and then it takes like 20 minutes to reboot. And so at 10:15, this machine is up, and I got my Windows desktop and everything I'm going, but it's still like in a configuration mode, and you can tell because programs won't launch. Like it's got your desktop and it looks like everything's fine, but when you try to run something, you just get the hourglass and it's just going and going, and it's just I know this just from being a computer guy for a long time. It's just I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the background in the machine. So I'm like, okay, I just have to wait for all of this stuff to go. Once it's all done, the machine will just run like normal, which is what it's doing now. But it's like at 10:15, it's doing that. And I'm like, Jesus, it's like I was supposed to start at 10. And I can't even launch my web browser to get on and send you guys a message to let you know, like, hey, the stream's still going. And sure enough, when I said get ready in the chat, I think it was like, I don't remember what time it was. It was like a little bit right after that. I just was like, I just wanted to type something so you knew, because I saw some people in the chat going, did we get the right day? What's going on? And I know how you feel. So anyone that's here still listening to my bullshit, thank you for having that patience. And I sincerely apologize for your time, because I hate making people wait around. And I know it's like a thing that just happens. I'm telling you, I'm cursed. So I'm gonna not talk so much tonight about stuff other than to explain, because you guys are already here. I don't need to wait to get people in the chat. You guys are here. I got some good comics. I'm gonna do 3 tonight, as a matter of fact. Hopefully Eric Breen got lots of rest and he can stay around, because I think these are going to be ones that he's going to like. Let's see. Computer Robot said, Ash, I'm going to laugh if you were asleep through all this and Eric woke you up. That would have been a funnier story, and that is a possibility that could happen. I'm getting old and I do fall asleep, but that would have been funny. Dane says, earliest I remember actually reading would have been Superman meeting Lori Lemaris, drawn by the inimitable Wayne Boring. I have one of those DC phone books that is all those great Wizen. Okay, you're speaking way beyond my time. I don't get any of that, so I feel like a comic noob here. So Ed's in the chat saying, I figure I'd finish Final Fantasy 12, and I did. Thanks, Ash. Oh man, I never finished Final Fantasy 12. That was a fun game while it lasted, but it just got to the point at the end where it was like this slog fest of a grind. Let's see. Hear that, Jerry? We need to make more videos. Breen's always planning with other people. Melissa's in the house. Ash, I can't stand Hickman's X-Men. They are hypocrites and villains of pure evil. I hear you loud and clear, Melissa. You're preaching to the choir. Let's see. Eric says, thanks, Ash. I appreciate it. Oh, well, no, thank you, buddy. It's I'm not trying to lick anyone's boots or anything. Like you're who you are, and we all love you for it. Melissa says, me and Computer Robots both know each other from Professor Geek streams and Big Al and Fan Man. And your streams, Computer Robots, is a good friend of mine, along with you, Ash, Stars, and Bats. Oh, okay, cool. This is one of the cool things about doing this, is that sort of online network of people, and you start to get to know people, and forms a sense of community. It's really cool. I've met a lot of people And even though I've never met anyone here personally, like face to face, I just feel like, they're real people that I just know in my life, and it's a cool thing. Uh, Ash, my son is getting a HeroClix of Hulk first appearance look where he was gray. Gray Hulk. So like the actual original like old school Hulk, or the gray Hulk where they like made him gray again, like back in the 80s when Todd McFarlane was doing Hulk. Oh, my drink is dry. Dang it. I'm going to have to get another drink refill. Um Oh yeah, I'm really going to have to get I get that tickle in your throat, like that's not even a tickle, it's like a scratch. And it like makes you just want to cough, but you're on a mic and you can't cough. Um Yep. Don't worry, I won't spread the coronavirus to you. Eric says Ash needed something to read, so I typed this. Oh Jesus! Yeah, you always make me laugh, buddy. Um, okay, so let's bring up a screen here. I got my Comixology, see, got it all working, and the first book we're gonna read tonight, if I can get it coming up, is Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Venditti is telling a classic style Superman story that feels like it belongs in the 80s, maybe 70s, 80s, but it feels also like kind of like the old school George Reeves TV show Superman. It just has that classic style. I could see some people possibly reading this and feeling like it's a little hokey because of that, and I have to admit, I wouldn't want this as the prime Superman book. It's a fun book to visit, and it's enjoyable, but I do like the modernized I like what Tomasi did with Superman. I thought it made Superman feel like a modern character, but also feel true to the character, if you get what I mean. So let's see. Man, you guys, there's so much chat. Melissa says old school Hulk from his first appearance in the Gamma Bomb tournament to Gray Hulk. All right, cool. HeroClix is fun. I played that for a very short while when it first came out, and the only reason I got out of HeroClix is I didn't like the collectability aspect of it. Well, not the collectability being a problem, the blind buying of it, where it's like, here, get a box of HeroClix figures, and in the beginning, when you go buy them, everything's new. Like, you need every figure in the box because you don't have any. You're like, yeah, look at all these guys I got. And it's a fun game to play, and you can battle superheroes and stuff. But then as you're like, oh, I like this game, and you keep buying more and more, man, that first day that you open a box and you're like, I have every single one of these characters, I didn't get anything new, and I just blew like $10 on this or whatever those things cost. And it was just like, ugh, you gotta buy a crap ton of boxes now to get figures, like just one or two figures, and you're like, this is a lot of money just to play. Yeah, and it just kind of annoyed me, but it was a really fun game. It'd be one of those things that I would tell people now, like, you could go on eBay and just find some guy selling a tub of them, just like, I have a bunch of these, and just, you could just play, especially if you've got kids that like comic book characters and stuff. It's a blast. Let's see. Melissa says my son uses them in the collection. Yeah, they're definitely collectible, or they were collectible at one point. I don't know how collectible they are now. Dane says, "Yep, love soups, but I'd stay awake for America." All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and read Superman. I'm gonna probably have a 1-minute intermission after this because I'm really gonna need a drink. But we'll get on with this right away. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. By the way, if anyone isn't completely annoyed with me at this point, and you want to give me a like, give me a share to help YouTube disseminate this video to other comic fans, I would really appreciate that. Let's see. I'm gonna send out a stream little tweet or a little tweet thing now that I'm streaming as it is. Come on, no, that's not. Damn it, YouTube! Why do you make things so difficult? Teelam says no fan of the Avengers movie Hulk. Plus, he's on Team Hypocrite. I didn't mind I like the Avengers Hulk. Hulk's one of those characters for me that you have a lot of places you can go with them because Marvel Comics went so many places with that Hulk. Remember the Peter David run of the Hulk when they pretty much is what the Avengers Hulk was at the end, was the sort of like Bruce Banner merged with the Hulk, the smart Hulk. And that was the Peter David run that I remember, and it was what it was. So I'm okay with variation and things. The problem with the Avengers wasn't Hulk anyway. It was like Fat Thor and yeah, Carol Danvers. Yeah. Man, everything is running so clunky tonight. I don't know if it's my machine or my internet or what. But you guys are hearing me. I'm not hearing any complaints from you other than get the show on the road, monkey. We came here to hear some comics. Come on. And this is the most frustrating. If you guys weren't, if I wasn't live right now, everything would be running butter. Everything would be fine. But now that I'm like trying to get things to work, it just doesn't want to. It's like a child throwing fits. Ah, screw it. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. More Buried Past. Man, that is a small credits box down there, which I can't put the mouse on because comic. Well, whatever. I just don't know what the hell I'm doing. Superman has a bad dream? Clark, what's wrong? What time is it? I'm sorry, Lois. Just a bad dream. Go back to sleep. What's so scary it gives even Superman nightmares? It's the creature that I've been encountering lately. You're still sore from that last fight? No, a little, but it isn't that. 4 times now I've fought that thing, but it always gets away. It's driven to some purpose, and it's like it's mad at me for getting in the way, but I can't figure out what it wants. It's the same when I know I have a story about a crooked official or a shady businessman, but Perry makes me go to all the trouble of backing up my sources. Why can't all the bad guys just monologue? You'd be surprised how many do. The one good thing is all the creatures' attacks have been on undeveloped land. It doesn't seem interested in hurting anyone, except me. Do what all veteran reporters do, or at least what I do. Sleep on it until the alarm says it's time to get up. The only thing I've learned owns almost all the undeveloped land outside of Metropolis. He's the only person in the city who can give Lex Luthor's net worth a run for its money. You'll just have to dig deeper. If you're getting up, can you start the coffee? Clark. I hate it when he doesn't say goodbye. outside Metropolis. Excuse me, sir. What can I do for you, young man? My name is Clark Kent. I'm a reporter for the Daily Planet. I'm working on an article. Would you mind if I walk the property for a bit? A reporter, eh? Knock yourself out. I've been mowing Mr. Bryce's fields going on 50 years. It's nothing but more grass. Thanks, sir. Rip. Oh. There's a thing, for those of you who haven't been following along in this series, that Lois is always making comments to Clark about getting his clothes ruined or losing his clothes and stuff like that. So this is a kind of funny little joke. Clark was walking the land. You want me to dig deeper, Lois? Can't do that without making a scene. But I can look deeper. Tires, some appliances. Fields like these are used for dumping all the time. Nothing to make a fuss over. Oh no. Dun dun dun. Toxic chemicals. At least it ain't toxic masculinity. Am I right, folks? Sorry, back to our program. That's the hazardous chemical waste. Looked like it's been buried for decades. Where did it come from? And what's it doing here? Does it have something to do with the creature? More. You. That's a pretty sick panel there. Gak. More what? Are there more chemicals? Who buried them? More. Fine. You want more? I'll give you all you can handle. Whoosh. Stop this. Stop. Gone? Why did it let me go? Is it because I found the buried chemicals? Maybe it hasn't been trying to fight me. Maybe it's been trying to show me. I've got more work to do. Speeding along the freeway out of Metropolis, Lois, I visited all 4 places where I fought the creature. I found illegal hazardous chemical dumps at all of them, decades old by the looks of them. There could be more. There's no telling how much land Albemarle Bryce owns. 40,000? 207 acres? All in the ex-urban Metropolis area? I looked it up in the county records, and then I followed a hunch. I dug into the history of Bryce properties. In the 80s, there was a junior reporter for the Daily Planet who wrote a small story about Bryce buying up the large tracts of land outside the limits. Very curious, since the land was in the middle of nowhere back then. The story got buried on page 12. Wait a minute, time out. Wasn't Lois Lane a reporter in the 80s? Get it? That's a comic joke, kids. Skirt! I hear tires screeching. Are you okay? The reporter was killed in a robbery days later. The Bryce story was the last one he ever wrote. I asked Perry about it. He was a high school intern back then. He says the reporter was well liked, but no one thought anything of it. People get robbed. What was the reporter's name? Wendell Moore. Not more. More. That's what the creature has been trying to tell me. Its name. I hope I made it to Bryce's estate in time. I think that's where the creature is headed next. What are you? More. Back! Stay back, you monster! Pock, pock, squish. Watch who you call monster, Bryce. You aren't a monster at all. You're just angry. Swack. More. Pock, pock, pock. Angry about what? What does it want with me? You have to help me, Superman. I understand why you don't recognize him. Admiral Bryce, meet Wendell Moore. No. More wood. Crash. It can't be. Wendell Moore is dead. Because you murdered him, Splud. Moore got too close to finding out that you were taking money to illegally dump hazardous chemicals on your land. Not many people noticed his article on the Planet, but you did. You killed him and buried him with that poison. It turned him into this. Me more slam. Better apologize, Bryce. Don't know if I can stop him. All right. I did it. I murdered you. Happy now? Who? I buried whatever someone wanted to get rid of. I took their money and used it to buy more land. I kept doing it. How else do you become the wealthiest land baron in the state? I won't apologize. We lived a long, rich life. Go on being a pathetic pile of misery. The toxic sludge dissolved your body decades ago, and anyone could have buried it without my knowledge. It's a lot of land. I can't watch it all. No one will prove any of it. Don't be so sure about that. You're tomorrow's headline, Mr. Bryce. I appreciate you keeping your voice loud for the recorder. Womp womp womp. Who are you? How did you get in here? You can't print any of that. Watch me. It's okay, Wendell. You can rest now. We'll make sure your story is told. Care to make any other incriminating statements, Mr. Bryce? Wise up, Missy. In case you weren't paying attention, I know how to deal with those nosy reporters. You'll never run that story. You'll what? Oops. It's probably not a good idea to threaten someone in front of Superman. Click. Nice work, Smallville. Headline reads, Land Baron arrested. The next morning, Wendell Moore did the work. All I did was fight with him. You still don't get it, do you? Get what? Wendell didn't need help from Superman. He needed it from Clark Kent, a reporter who could finally finish his story. We're writers. We all die with the unwritten words in our heads. Because of you, Wendell got to publish his. Because of us. Because of us. It's a good story. Even Perry was happy with it. We all owe Wendell one. In Metropolis, we help each other. Superman taught us that. Check out the Batman mug. That's a nice little touch. I did tell you the villain's monologue, though. Just shut up and kiss me, Smallville. Next, Superman versus Metropolis. Well, that was a fun little story. That felt like that could have been like a TV episode back in the days of TV Superman, where everything was always wrapped up into one story. That's been pretty cool. I haven't seen Venditti do stories like this in the past. Um, Normally Venditti is very well, at least for me in my limited experience with his work, he's tells these bigger stories. His Hawkman story was 12 issues. I can always keep raving about that, but that's the book that really helped me discover like him being a great writer. Um, I read to you guys the first issue of his Exo Manowar series from 2012. You got to see one issue of the story, but you could tell like that was a first chapter of a greater whole. That's what I'm used to. I'm used to him sort of building things. Usually he takes 4, sometimes 5 issues to kind of build up, and then kind of it's a roller coaster ride through about 12 issues of an arc. It's not really decompressed like is the problem with a lot of modern comics that people complain, which is why I like him, because I don't mind a long story. I just don't want to feel like I read one comic's worth of story in 6 comics. Like I just get on with it. This is the opposite. This is a very compressed story, but it works really well. It also kind of felt like, it's kind of weird. Scooby-Doo's been on my mind lately because of that new stupid movie that came out. But I was a kid, I used to love Scooby-Doo, and it has a very formulaic way of telling stories, but for its time, that show was probably one of the best cartoons on TV. Had really good characters. Even though it was formulaic, it had good writing within that formula, and I don't know, it was good for kids. Obviously, that show stayed around. They're making movies about it today. And Superman, this is what this kind of reminded me of. Like Superman finds the mystery and solves it, and it's all wraps up in the end. What do you guys think? I'm gonna read the chat while you guys do that. Let's see. Eric says you'd pay to see something. What are you gonna pay to see? Tom King making Batman atheist ruined him, and Marvel making Peter atheist contradicts his Protestant Christian background. So Peter hangs out with Doctor Strange, who looks like Vincent Price. Is that what you'd pay to? I don't know what you're. Oh, Ash cosplay as National Treasure. Oh man, you'd have to pay a lot to see that. That would not come cheap. Let's see. Melissa says, "Is this Rebirth or pre-52 Superman?" This is Rebirth Superman, which is actually pre 52 Superman. Rebirth Superman is pre 52 Superman. So the answer to that question, Melissa, is yes. Eric says, we make fun of Ash now that he's not checking the comments anymore. Damn you. I'm checking it now, jerk. Lord says, good night, everyone. What? They just leave in the middle of a Superman story? All right. Dane, don't know if I'd want to see that. I'd see probably a 300-pound guy wearing a Kamala Khan shirt last week. Scary. Jeez, dude. Tahilum says, so Parasite is Bendis and Venditti's run. What? I don't even understand. That's not Parasite. What? What? I got lost. Dane says Venditti knows how to build a story. Yeah. And Tahilum says, at least Venditti's story shows location, cast. Okay. I don't know. We're always bashing. Bendis always comes up. No matter what we talk about comics, and then people are just like, I gotta bitch about something. Damn Bendis. Maybe we all have Bendis derangement syndrome. I wonder if that's a thing. Ed says, so Superman story, just okay. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars because it was fun. It was entertaining. And like I was saying before, I've enjoyed all of these. I enjoyed this one too. It was a fun story. I paid 89 cents for this. It was worth my money. If I went to the store and paid $3.99 for this, it would still be better than what Bendis is doing. The art's really good too. But I would be like, I want a little bit more sophistication. And what I think is happening is that Venditti is doing his job. Keep in mind that these stories that we're reading, these are like backup stories in the Superman 100-page giants that are being released. And so I think there's like 4 stories in those books. And the other stories are reprints. They're like curated from other books. Venditti's been tasked to write something original to put in there. So he can't come up with this elaborate, sophisticated, long-running saga in these books that are made for a normie to walk into Walmart or whatever and pick up and be like, "Oh, Superman, I remember that. That was fun." It's got to be very approachable. So when I look at these stories in that light, I'm like, yeah, this is very approachable. All you have to know is the basics of Superman, which most people do, and you can pick right up. Lex Luthor's a bad guy. Lois Lane, okay, he's his wife. Like, she's his wife. I don't know what I say. You get it all. It just flows right. He doesn't waste any time. And you get a fun little mystery, like, what's the monster? Why is the monster doing the thing? Oh, the monster's actually a victim. And, it's kind of formulaic, but it was fun. And if you're a Superman fan, it's just fun to see Superman do Superman things. Let's see. Oh, we got a honored guest in the house, Second Street Marvel, who's a fellow YouTuber. He does much more professional videos than I do, so shout out to him. He says, I just got here. What issue is this? Dane responds with Man of Tomorrow 4. This is the Superman backup stories that the DC's printing in digital format. And yeah, you can get them on Comixology right now for 99 cents a piece. Unless you're a Comixology member, then you get the 15% discount. So yeah, those are fun to read. Giving something new to the fans here. I figure I could read back issues, which would make Breen happy, but why make Breen happy? Let's see. Comics Quirks with Jimmy. By the way, I've been meaning to say this. Jimmy, the reason we gave you the nickname Jimmy is because Comics Quirks is too hard to say. It's a mouthful. And you took a mouthful and you shoved more stuff into the mouth. You made your name even harder to say now. The whole point was just to be able to, hey, Jimmy, super easy. And you made it Comics Quirks with Jimmy. Like, it's like a word salad every time I open my mouth now. Anyways, I just want to know why I wanted to say that. But he says, I love this book. Just your daily reminder, Bendis is one of the best writers of all time. No, this is Robert Venditti. This wasn't Bendis. Eric says irritable Bendis syndrome. That's a different thing, Eric, that you might have. Let's see. I'm going to skip over the Bendis stuff just because it's been said so much. We don't need to keep rehashing it in the comments. But I'm glad Second Street Marvel could swing by. I don't know if he's still there lurking in the background. But I need to take about a 60-second or so, don't time me, about a 1-minute intermission because my throat is killing me. And I was struggling so much to get past the technical difficulties that I just didn't refill my drink. And now I'm parched. And I'm going to get my next comic set up before I do that. We got a little bit of a treat for you. This is a gift by my boy Skip, who's not here. Where are you, Skip? Man, Skip. So he donated to me this book that we talked about on the last episode on Friday. It's issue 605.1, which is a one-off story that ties into the story we read last week. And he's like, yeah, you got to read this. And he was very nice enough to donate it to me through Comixology. I read it. I enjoyed it. And I said, why don't I just share it with everyone so they can also get this and see if they like it too. And, it'll tie in with the story. And you guys get extra stuff. I mean, we're reading the Hickman's Fantastic Four, so why not get more to read? And, the more comics I read, the less you hear me babble on about nonsense. Eric says Ash is boozing it up. Hey, that's not a bad idea. I do have some more bourbon in the cupboard, so I could do that. Second Street Marvel says I'm a hack, but thanks for the kind words. You're not a hack, buddy. Your videos are they're very professional. I mean, Look at me. I'm sitting here with a screen on a comic talking into a mic. Um, but yeah, you do good stuff. If you guys like Marvel comics and if you like just a positive attitude on books, go check out his stuff. You can probably right click on his name or the little things in the chat and it'll take you right to his YouTube page. Um, and you can find out what he does if you haven't already seen it for yourself. Melissa says, I got to get going. You guys have a great night. Oh, Melissa. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Melissa has very abject reactions. She has allergies to Hickman. So this will cause her some illness, I believe. So she's going to remove herself from the guy who's, well, we won't talk about the X-Men stuff. You have a good night. I hope your son's doing well. And I'm going to go ahead and go on to an intermission real quick. And then we will get back to reading some comics. Please stay patient. Thanks. All right, there we go. See, that wasn't too long. Wait, where'd everyone go? Just kidding. All right. Skip is here. It's almost like were your ears bleeding, Skip? Did you hear us talking about you? You're like, well, my ears are bleeding. I need to go check Ass's channel. Oh, sure enough, there he is. He's talking about me. So we're gonna be reading Skip's comic here that he didn't have anything to do with other than sharing it with me. But let's see. Melissa says, I will tell him hi. Tell him that you said hi and pop back in after you read Hickman's Fantastic Four. If not, you guys have a wonderful evening. Yeah, this is going to be 2 Fantastic Four issues we're going to be reading tonight, Melissa, and no non-Hickman stuff. So I respect you not wanting to hear it. If you don't want, that's definitely your prerogative. And but I'm not going to be reading anything else non-Hickman tonight. So we're going to continue that. If I don't see you, then I will see you next time. Have a good night. Marania's in the house. Hot tea with lemon and honey should help with that, Ash. Oh, yeah. Hot tea and lemon and honey is fantastic. Especially when you're sick, which I'm not really sick. I just got that scratch in your throat. It happens when I talk too much, which is a lot. But also if I'm trying to do stupid voices for comics and I stretch my vocal cords in ways that I'm not normally doing. And then, of course, sometimes it's real simple. Take a drink of water, you're done, you're fine. Then you don't have anything. And then you're like continuing on going and pushing it harder. So now I got a big little jug of iced tea. Haha. Got cotton balls in my ears as we speak. There we go. I knew it. Dane says, okay, as much as I love you guys, I gotta be up in 5 hours. I'll listen to the rest tomorrow. Like I said, I'd stay awake for America. Well, that's because you're a true patriot, Dane. And I'm sorry you're going to miss this. I can tell you for sure this book is not about America in more ways than one. We're going to be reading about some Nazis tonight, folks. So God bless you, as Skip says. I agree. Have a good night. And for the rest of you that have stayed with me in the chat, let's get things moving. This is Fantastic Four 605.1. What is this stupid thing right up here? Oh, you guys can't see my cursor. On the top left of the comic is this big, gigantic .1. It's nice to see that Marvel has been doing this gimmick crap. Oh, if they have an opportunity to put a giant, slap a giant number 1 on their book. Stupid. Oh, all right, sorry. Me just venting here. The world's greatest comic magazine, Fantastic Four, is a nice shout out to the classic Fantastic Four. What it used to say that. The Fantastic Four. Oh, I'm not going to read this stuff. We covered that last week. The world had been subdued. Next was space. Hold steady, Mr. Grimm. We are the sharp point, the very start of the Führer's 1,000-year plan. The Führer. 4. Okay, so 2 years ago. Do you see, Doctor? Well, it starts with symbolism. It is the possible fulfillment of that dream which truly energizes people. But, and this is our real problem, how do you motivate the already victorious, I'll tell you. With new horizons. So I ask you, are you the man for the job, Dr. Richards? Can you peek past the sun and race to infinity? Yes, Führer, I am. Watch as I conquer heaven. What is this? What is the Fantastic Four working for the Nazis? Oh. 16 months ago, the American province of New Berlin. Isn't it funny how nothing other than the swastika, nothing other than the swastika strikes like Nazi imagery than a giant Zeppelin going over a city? That imagery is like, it's a huge trope. It's funny. Anyways, moving on. We have narrowed down the applicants for your security team to the following group of individuals. They fight now for the 2 places on your team. Interestingly, it appears to be the siblings Susan and Jonathan Sturm that will prevail. Yes, they seem adequate. Okay, that's enough. Cadet Sturm, I said enough. So here's Nazi version of Johnny Sturm. I don't know why his name's different, but whatever. And his sister, who apparently are just brutal gladiator combatants. 11 months ago, the Nazi concentration camp, Boston. Bring out the Jew pilot. His name? Grimm. Benjamin Jacob. He will do. 5 months ago, Baden-Württemberg. Begin. I have been told many times I have a perfect mind. It is a flattery. I am ashamed to say that I have repeated myself more than once, and yet, here all of you are, attempting to solve a problem I cannot. It's like working your entire life on an infinite puzzle, and then, nearing completion, you realize one piece is missing. There is nothing wrong with seeking perfection, desiring it above anything else. It is what separates us from the doctor. Doctor, this man says he... Be quiet. My God. It's perfection. The solution. How did you do this? I do not know, Doctor. The answer was not a result of traditional methodology. I saw it coalesce in my mind from nothing. Perhaps inspiration simply came to the prepared mind. Or perhaps you have something others, myself included, do not have. I'll examine you closely and decide what it is. What is your name? It's Victor. Victor Von Doom. Dun, dun, dun. 4 months ago. In the end, Victor, what we were looking for was a specific modulation to the shield the vessel from the cosmic rays. A specific shield... I can't read. What we were looking for was a specific modulation to shield the vessel from cosmic rays. But your work revealed something possibly more interesting than that. Yes, we would defeat space. But what if we could also stand victorious on an even greater frontier? Man itself. We could all become something more. So thank you, Victor. You made all of this possible. A little of you mixed with all of me proved to be the perfect combination. If you could have lived through the procedure, I'm sure that you would marvel at what we will do together. I will think fondly of you when I see Earth from the heavens. This is wicked. Now. There's a spaceship. Rocket separation. Reaching the radiation belt, Doctor. Hold it steady. Adjusting our shielding to focus the cosmic rays. Prepare yourself. This could hurt a bit. Excuse me. Jeez. This could hurt a bit. Arrgh! Skin turning ice cold, freezing. I can't feel my hands. My arms losing control. We're going to crash. Ba-boom. This is command. Have you found the vessel? Yes, we've established a perimeter, and I also sent in soldiers to comb through the wreckage and see if anyone survived. And were they successful? What was in there? We're not sure what we found, sir. Nuremberg, a celebration of achievement. It is our will that the state shall endure for 1,000 years. And today we are happy to know that the future is ours entirely. These courageous souls braved the stars, not for individual glory, but for the triumph of the Reich. You are treated like an animal because they believe you are one. And now, not just an animal, but a monster as well. Go away. I will not. As exposure to cosmic rays transformed you, they transformed me as well. My mind has expanded. I see wheels within wheels. If I released you, what would you do with your freedom? Because I think we could do very well without the Führer. Clink, clink. Uh-oh. Hey, Hitler. Act 9. How many fascists you think's it takes to paint the stage red? No! Remember the Alamo, you Nazi bastard! Monster! Remember that Johnny and Susan Sturm are full-on Nazi patriots. We're gonna make you pay for that. No, we're gonna kill you for it. Yeah? Come on. Cram. Look at that. Oh my goodness. This shatters Johnny Sturm's face. Rah! And then Susan burns him from the inside. Jesus. This was the scene at Nuremberg Square just 40 minutes ago when violence broke out at the ceremony honoring the first German astronauts. Now, we can now confirm that the horrific news that the Führer was killed along with the 3 of the 4 space explorers, and while reports remain chaotic and vague, early word from government sources suggests terrorist actions are to blame. It's always terrorists. Remember that, always. We will continue to wait for more answers, but as we do, it is difficult to ignore several questions that hang in the air. Where does our country go from here? Who will lead us? And what does our future hold? The future? I would have held it in my hand. As I saw it perfectly, I had a vision clear as a flawless sky. There would have been no more small ideas, no more small steps. I would have remade the world. If not for those who stood in my way. The X-Men. Ideologues, rebels, outcasts, heroes. Not just the genetic anomalies, but the Earth's mightiest assembled. Look what he's holding on his hand, by the way. It's not real clear in that picture, but... And while they could not defeat me, they did prevent me from achieving my goals for the planet. As they vexed me, provoked me, angered me, and they fell before the God hand in its infinite power, I lost control. So, Reed Richards, raised as a Nazi, who surgically spliced some of Victor Von Doom's brain into his brain, some sort of weird brain transplant, who went into space. We don't know what kind of powers he got because all the Fantastic Four didn't all get the same powers, right? So he doesn't seem stretchy, but he says his mind is expanded, and he's got the Infinity Gauntlet, which is called the God Hand, which is kind of a better name for it. But I lost control for just a moment. I lost control. And everything died. But do you know what happens when you give a god an infinite canvas and all the time in the universe? Eventually, he has an idea. It was a bridge, a great machine. It spanned the difference between known and the unknown. It provided answers to impossible questions. I wanted to build a different future than the one I had lost. The bridge was a conduit that led to the construct nestled inside a fabricated pocket reality. It's a place outside of both the universal structure and the space that exists between. Here, the rules that governed all reality did not apply. It was here that I could do my work, erase my mistakes. Along with the others, variants of myself from other realities. We called it the Council. I called them my brothers. No, Maranya, that's not an Infinity Gauntlet. That's 3 Infinity Gauntlets. And what was the great work that we would do? Together, we would solve everything. So this is an issue that had a one-shot story, 405.1. It appeared about 25 issues after where we are in the current series. Again, Skip was kind enough to donate to me, wanted me to read it, and so I figured I would pay it forward, share the wealth, and give you guys a chance to enjoy it too if you have not already. If you remembered from the last the last issue that we read, the guy that introduced 616 Reed to the council, he had that beard, the bald head guy, and there was this line that he said in that book that there was a little bit of doom in him. So this is kind of a little short story explaining what that meant. He was being literal. He wasn't being figurative. He literally has a piece of doom in him. I thought it was a really fun story. As I told Skip, we had a long discussion about it. I like what if stories. I like alternate future story, or not. I like alternate history stories. I like when you can play around with history and mix it with fiction and things like that. So I'm very much enjoying the Hickman Fantastic Four books. And he was right. This one fits right in after that last issue, 571. So I thought I would just share and hope you guys got to enjoy that. Let me see what the comments. Marani says, this is brutal. And Skip says, very brutal. Oddly enough, Mel left on an issue where the X-Men are the heroes. Yeah, it's good. I was thinking the same thing, Skip. I was like, man, the X-Men. Yeah, it's funny. Skip says, everything dies. And I already addressed the Infinity Gauntlet comment. This was the story of the read that said, let's cover that too. I meant before it was revealed in the not see part of the story. Gotcha. Thanks, Ronnie. I don't know exactly when the comments come in, so that makes sense. When I was like, "What's that on his hand?" and you were probably like, "Is that an Infinity Gauntlet?" Right. And I like the reveal. I like the way that story shows something. And I had the same way. I was reading it. I was like, is that an Infinity Gauntlet? And then later on, when you show the close up of the gauntlet, it confirms. You're like, oh, it is. And then you get to the end, and he's got the two other guys, and they each have an Infinity Gauntlet. And you're like, oh, it's 3 Infinity Gauntlets. Jesus. Lost Sheep is in the house. Says, I'm watching. Cool. Hopefully you're listening too. I'm going to take another swig of some iced tea. That's good radio. I miss the days of radio, don't you? I guess streaming like this is kind of the same. It allows every jackhole like me to get on. You don't have to be a professional with a radio program. We're going to get right into, now that we've had that nice warm-up, back to the main event, which is Hickman's Fantastic Four, the 3rd issue of the series. This is 572. The cost of solving everything is everything. Oh, that's ominous. Skip says everything dies is a theme in the F4 run and is the first thing that Reed says at the start of Hickman's Avengers run. It's the first words in the book. All right, so this is Hickman and Eaglesham, who's doing some really beautiful art. Marania says, Hickman seems to love FF a lot more than the X-Men. He at least seems to respect what the Fantastic Four are more, for sure. One thing I noticed back in Hoxpox when I was first starting reading it, I think it was like the first issue or maybe the second issue, where the X-Men kind of run into the well, I don't remember what issue. I'm getting all mixed up, but I was having some problem with the way the X-Men were, and I was like, these just don't feel like the X-Men. But there's a guest appearance essentially of the Fantastic Four, and I was like, wait a second, the Fantastic Four feel like the Fantastic Four, and it really felt like an anchor to me. It made me feel like, okay, since the Fantastic Four are accurate, that kind of makes me feel like everything else I'm seeing is this way on purpose. Like, it's not Hickman going, I don't know what I'm doing, but meant to tell you, hey, I do know what I'm doing. There's a reason why it doesn't feel right, and I'm trying to give you a hint, so I'll reveal later, to which I was like, fine, cool, I'm fine with that. Fast forward to today, the reason why I'm kind of frustrated is because I'm like, dude, it's been 12 issues of Hoxpox, and now we're like on 10 issues of X-Men, plus there's like 8 different Dawn of X books, all with 6 to 10 issues. That's a shit ton of books now to like keep this charade going, if it is a charade. Like, I'm just like, it's too much. I'm done. I'm tuned out, you know? Like, at some point, you got to get on with the story. You can't just... anyways, I'm not going to keep babbling on about that. I am really enjoying Fantastic Four. Hopefully you guys are too. Let's get on with the show. Come on, click over. All right. Solve everything conclusion. Oh, we're getting a conclusion already? Oh, I'm excited. Now remember, I have not read these books. I did read the one I just read. I had read that a few days ago. But this one is a cold read for me. So I have no idea what's coming. So if I stutter over stuff, you know why. And you're going to get my legitimate, honest first reaction to what we're seeing. Excuse me. Here we go. What are their intentions? I can't push through. Madness. Madness. They want the council as a staging area for conquest. Oh. They've noticed me. Pause. If you haven't been following the story thus far, the Eternals, no, sorry, not the Eternals, the Celestials showed up. So the councils are, they're doing their whole thing, and they're like, hey, Reed, we're going to initiate you into this whole thing. We're going to solve everything, and then the Celestials. So that's what's going on. Oh, dude. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Let's rewind here. Madness. Madness. They want the council as a staging area for conquest. Oh, they've noticed me. Boom. These are people I don't want to mess with. I was like, what? What? Unacceptable. We have removed the intruder animal from the Mind Collective. This place leads to all others. We would have all of it. Kneel and gain favor forgiveness. No, we are men. We have no masters. That seems kind of toxic masculinity there. Sorry, that was a joke. Oh, Jesus. Oh. They just got fried. Infinity Gauntlet doesn't work outside of the universe it comes from. So they are in this pocket reality that's outside the universe. So the Infinity Gauntlet essentially is nothing there. That's how I'm taking it. Find cover. Defend the council. Saboom. I love. Wait a second. What? I was just about to say I love that there's always different Reed Richards, like the one with the Doctor Doom. There's some that have got different powers. You know, you saw one that had like essentially Johnny Storm's powers. We saw one back here. Yeah, big muscle bound Reed Richards. Because in the different realities, the effects of the cosmic rays were slightly off and affected him different. I think that's kind of neat. And I was talking about how the Infinity Gauntlet doesn't work. But this isn't the Infinity Gauntlet. This is arguably something maybe as powerful as the Infinity Gauntlet. It's a Star brand. Reed Richards with a Star brand. Holy like that would be the end. That would you wouldn't need anything else. Reed Richards with a Star brand. To the armory. Zach. Reed. That would get really confusing, by the way. I'm sorry I keep interjecting here, but it's just like everyone's named Reed. How do you call each other? I need you to access my multiverse. You're going to use the Infinity Gauntlet? Yes. My body will not be able to handle it. You'll burn me out. I'll die. We have to turn this or we're finished. I can't think of any other way. Can you? No. No, I can't. Well, it's been one hell of a ride. For all of us. What the? Oh, Jesus. You five, get to your Earths and bring back whatever you can to help stop these monsters. Hurry! Aye! Activate bridge. Oh, dude. So Reed gets through the portal and shuts it off just in time. Reed's primary lab, 5 minutes ago. I'm all done, Val. What did you pack? Some comics, food, snacks, some juice boxes. Well, don't squish them. Remember when last time... Hey. Got it. Cool. What is it? Insurance, Franklin. Your horse ready? Yep, ready and raring. Then let's go. We don't want to miss our flight. Okay, that's it. We're off. It's going to take an hour or so for us to reach the platform where the New World portal is. You sure it's okay for us to be going, Sue? Because you ain't going to be able to reach us if you need us. Go. Have a good time. You deserve it. All right, then. You heard the lady. No way to be bothered and stuck in a world that is never... Wait. And stuck in a world that has never known the love of one Johnny Storm. Here we go. What was it you said? Mom, can we please go on vacation with Uncle Ben and Uncle Johnny? No, absolutely not, she said. Maybe next time when you're older, she said. And what did we think of that? It didn't seem fair. It wasn't fair, not one bit. Right. Wait, why is that again? Because it's almost your birthday. Right. Then I will be 1 year older. Franklin? Yeah, Val? We're going to have to round up. I'm going to shoot the thing now. Cool. Thunk. Read? I've been thinking. Mostly about the conversation we had at breakfast the other morning. About what I want and what I expect. And I want to apologize. Not because I was wrong or because I reacted poorly, but because sometimes I forget what it must be like to be you. You needed to fix everything, and me and the rest of the family not being able to help you or even see what it is that needs fixing. So, if this is just one of those things you need to work through on your own, I know it must be very important. What I'm saying is, yes, I miss you, God do I, but you take however long you need. Because what I want is for you to be you. And what I expect is for you to do what you think is right. I'll be here waiting when you're done. The council, moments later. Ah, nice, Reed. A universal entropy gun. Zach. Jesus. Punch a hole in an impenetrable object with an antimatter shell. Wait, why is Starbrand Reed dead? And deliver a payload of rapid equilibrium. Damned effective when Celestials bleed energy. I hope it hurt. They're retreating. Good. Get this man some aid. Status report. The council has been secured. 5 of them escaped through the other bridges. 4 through one through the other. You're gonna be all right. Shut off access from those universes and gather a hunting party. Summon any Reeds that weren't here. We're going after them. On it. Reed, you stay here. Look after the wounded. But I can help. You've done enough. You were the only one who came back. The weapons you brought turned the tide. So that's twice you saved my life today. I'll have to owe you. You saved me as well, Reed. You all right? No. When they tore my mind apart looking for information about this place, the Celestials did something. It's gone, Reed. My gift. How my mind worked. Gone. I'm sorry. We'll find some way to fix this. To fix you. Will you now? And what if you can't? I don't know. There are other things. Important things. Like what? Friends? Family? No one here has those things anymore. We gave all that up for the greater good. So if I don't have this, I have nothing. What do you mean no one here has those things? It's simple, Reed. The cost of solving everything is everything. The work will consume you. How can we think about little things like our personal lives when the fate of all we know lies in the balance? Susan will stop understanding. Her patience will run out as she's forced to raise the family all alone. Doesn't she deserve better? Ben and Johnny will get angry and eventually move on. Your children will resent you because you work too much and love too little. All you will have left is this. I would never do that. Yes, you would. You will. It's the price, Reed. It always gets paid. Even knowing this is how it ends for me, I would gladly do so again. No, I don't accept that. I won't. Who are you to think you are different, Reed? You'll be back. You always come back. I have to go now, Reed. I want you to stay. There are things that have to be done, things I must do. I don't have any other choice, son. I wish I did. How long will you be gone for? A long time. Too long. If you truly need me, I'll be around, I promise. But what if I just want to talk? Reed, I've given you plenty of advice over the years, and I know you've listened because I see what you've become. A man capable of making his own decisions. Computer, seal and lock the door to the machine. Erase the room. But I want you to remember one last thing before I go. The world is ugly. It should not be, but it is. It will force you to do things you know you should not do, to compromise, simply because you feel like you have no other choice. This weakens us. It makes men less than what we should be. And it will be even more difficult for you because you have an extra burden, because you have a gift that will affect many people. But this, as he taps his head, without this, as he taps his heart, means nothing. It's a terrible thing for someone not to reach their full potential. I know. As I've grown older, I've realized that I do not have the character to be both good and great at the same time. But you do, Reed. And as such, all of my hopes and desires rest in you becoming what I am not. When you grow up, I expect more. Son, I expect better. I want you to be a better friend than I was. Be a better husband. Be a better father. Reed, be a better man. Whew. That was really good. that was that was pretty amazing comic book writing. That was like transcending comic book writing. It had all the visceral action of the breeds facing celestials, to a story about a man being a good husband and living to his principles. I don't know if everyone's going to react the same way I did, but this last panel here of Reed coming out of the room and Susan just sort of waiting there, not sure when he's ever going to come out. It's kind of powerful. Hickman, when this is the effect that I had when I was reading House of X, Powers of X, man. When Hickman is on and he's focused and he's got a story to tell and he's inspired, man, he does things that no one else in the industry may have ever done. I was about to say is doing, but I don't know if anyone's ever done this. It's definitely unique. And again, it makes me scratch my head when I go back to thinking about the Dawn of X books, and I'm like, this is the same guy writing New Mutants? What? This can't be. I don't understand. But I'm not here to dog on the New Mutants. I'm really enjoying this, and it's making it tough reading this book for you guys because, like I said, this is a cold read for me. This is not me reading something that I loved and sharing it. Like, so I want to stop and like just break open the next issue and keep going, but I have to wait. I have to be disciplined. So 573 is the next issue. Let's get it started here so that it appears in my reading list. Oh, I've reached my limit. You've reached your limit. Okay, return that. We can return all the Silver Surfer Requiems. Why is it got the Fantastic Four in my borrows? I actually own this book. Oh, stupid. What else do I not? I have a lot of stuff in my borrows. I don't understand why it just doesn't let you borrow unlimited stuff. It's so stupid. If I'm paying $5.99, what do you care what comics I click to borrow? It's like, you're borrowing too many. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I keeping other people from checking them out? It's not like a physical library where if I borrow a book, it's like literally missing for someone else. Whatever. Click return. There. No. What's going on? Why is it? Okay, I did this. Then I click read. No pun intended. That's a funny cover. So this will be the next book. We're trapped in a petri dish of unnatural progress. There you go. So another thing, I have to click forward a page or it won't remember that I'm reading it for some reason. So there we go. And now it appears. Wait. Oh, God, Comixology. Why do you suck so bad, Comixology? At least the app is better. The webpage version of it's lame. So there you go. Now it's in my progress. I can click and read it. Find it next time. Hey, look. I got Vagrant Queen #1. It was free. We might be reading this live on the channel. Just make sure you don't say anything mean to me, or we'll read some Vagrant Queen. I was like, what can we read to live up? We're only going to have so many issues of America. I need something else. Yeah. Now available to watch on Sci-Fi Channel. The biggest failure Sci-Fi Channel's ever had, from what I understand. So stupid. Let's take a look at the chat, guys, and see what you were saying while I was reading. I know you're probably I can't read the chat now because, especially if Eric Breen's here, which he obviously went to sleep. He doesn't stay around. I don't know if Eric can handle Jonathan Hickman anyway. He needs the simple stuff. That's what I'm just saying. I'm playing some MUA3, watching American Dad. Oh, Jesus, computer. Do you ever read comics? Playing video games while someone reads comics to you. That is the epitome of like first world problems. Skip confirms it was the first issue of Hawks I was talking about earlier. Hickman said he was a DC guy growing up and only Marvel comics he loved was X-Men. Well, everyone loved X-Men. That was the thing. When I was in the 80s, it was You were generally a Marvel guy or a DC guy, but everyone was an X-Men guy. That was kind of how it worked. Um, Skip says F4, yes. Dude, it gets wild. Skip says art is so good. Confirming what Marania said, she loves the art. Skips, it goes, read. 23 reads turn and say, huh? Yeah, totally. And it's like, it's so weird. It's like when someone's shouting, hey, Reed. And you're like, dude, everyone here is named Reed. What? You guys are really big brain guys, but you didn't think about that, did you? um, let's see. Why did they change to the summer uniforms with those short sleeves? I do not like this version, but it's still better than Sue's four-shaped boob window by a mile. Yeah, that was a cringe thing. I think the summer uniform things are okay. Fantastic Four, for me, has always suffered in their uniform design. From like just that was one of the things as a kid. I was like, Fantastic Four looks dumb. They have these dumb blue jumpsuit uniform things. I kind of like the Freedom Foundation uniforms, the white and the black, but at this point, the classic uniforms have become so iconic. Like I said, Hickman is big on everything having a price. The price of solving everything is everything. Yeah, for sure. It totally is everything. I like that. One thing that I love about stories is moral dilemma and choice, and then the ramifications of choice. And so when I'm reading a story and a character that I'm fond of or that I'm attached to is forced to make a choice, I am automatically very much now invested in that choice. I care very much about what choice they make. I think that's actually a very strong technique in writing, is first develop a character so that the audience cares about said character, then put the character in a situation to where the character has to make but there's certain people that like talk to the screen when they're like watching movies, and then the character, no, don't do that. No, don't go in that room, or whatever. And like they're talking, it's like, dude, they can't hear you. But it's an evidence to the fact that we make connection to these imaginary characters. The people that don't have imaginations, the people that don't love stories, will probably look at people like us and be like, well, you're just invested in a fake character. This is the thing that bothers me about the group of people out there that are criticizing like the Star Wars fandom for being so angry about stuff. And it's like, dude, it's just a bunch of movies, grow up, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yes, factually that's true. However, people have invested in this. There's an emotional connection and emotional energy that was put into this. And for some people, for decades of time. And yes, it's totally just all fake or whatever, but some of us choose to spend our life like investing in our imagination. I know my imagination is not real. I don't have a problem discerning between the two. Some people really do. We've seen people like that. You're just like, oh my God, you have mental problems, and that's unfortunate. But I think imagination is a very healthy thing. Especially, as long as you're able to separate the two, and putting emotional investment into your imagination can be very therapeutic. It's a way of dealing with the stresses and pressures of the world, and it's a way of also enjoying yourself. And if you aren't enjoying yourself, I mean, it's your life, like you get one of them. Ed says, I like that one. Good stuff. And Skip says, yeah, buddy. Like I said, Hickman is big on okay, I did that. And this is the story of what the true cost is and what Reed values more than solving everything. And that is a huge thing for me. I have this nagging suspicion in my head that Reed is going to turn away from Sue. And I think there was some hints at that where it's like, Reed, you'll be back. You'll always be back. Hope I'm wrong. I feel like it's very powerful if Reed stands by his wife and doesn't become like all the other Reeds, especially since that's how all the other Reeds are. The one thing I've always kind of been turned off by the Council of Reeds since it was conceived was just like, it goes back to like my problem with legacy characters. Like, Reed Richards is special. And if you introduce hundreds of Reed Richards, then why is 616 Reed different? What's special about him? Why should I care about him? But if all the other Reeds give up on their love and family and the other things that, that one other Reed, see, there's a problem. I can't identify the different Reeds. But said in that, issue, like you have to give it all up. The price of everything is everything. If he's the one that doesn't do that, that makes him special, makes him different. So I would love to see a story where he can succeed in doing that. I don't know what Hickman has in store. I'm on for the ride, but that's just my cold reaction. So you're getting like where my mind is at the moment. Ed says cover 7.5 out of 10. Okay, that's not a bad score, I guess. I think the covers are pretty good. Quirk says, I like the new FF design. Skip, you're going to be in Discord. Ron says, actually, no, I was not an X-Men fan. I like the animated series, but I did not read the books at all. Dang it, Marania. Why do you have to be the exception to the rule? Why do you have to disprove my theories? All right, so there's always exceptions to the rule, of course. Not everyone bought X-Men, that's true. But for the most part, when I was in comic book stores, and I've worked in comic book stores at two different parts of my life, X-Men was sort of that book that transcended publishers. Kind of like Batman, right? Batman's kind of like that way too. Like, I was a Marvel guy through and through as a kid, but I also thought Batman was cool, right? I bought Detective Comics. So I wasn't a DC guy by any other stretch of the imagination. I used to think, I never thought Superman was stupid, but I never understand the appeal of a Superman comic. I was like, yeah, Superman's cool. Like, I like the movie and you can tell like a story, but I always thought you couldn't tell Superman comics as an ongoing comic. He was just too powerful, and it seemed too two-dimensional. Like, oh, he's got secret identity, he's Clark Kent, he transforms into Superman, he fights bad guys. Like, I was an X-Men guy. Like, there was so much complexity and nuance to these stories and I just didn't understand. So, and then fast forward to Rebirth era Superman and Tomasi, and I was like, oh, I get it now. Okay, there's so much more to Superman. Blah, blah, blah. What else is Jimmy might be in for 30 minutes at most? Jimmy says, okay. Yeah, just for you guys that don't know, on my Discord channel, probably not tonight because I was late on the show and I'm getting tired and I got to be up. So I'm probably not going to do the after show tonight. But I like to do regularly is when we end the stream, go into Discord and just shoot the shit, as they say. With, whoever else wants to go. And I know sometimes when you want to react and talk, chatting in text can be difficult if you want to really make a point. But of course, not everyone is as mouthy and wordy as me and just goes on forever and long-winded. Ronnie responds says, exactly, Ash. There should not be multiples of characters like that. Characters should not be a McDonald's franchise that anyone can own. Yeah. So I'm going to trust in Hickman to tell a good story. This is another thing I talked to Skip about was a lot of times you just have to trust in an author. Sometimes they take you in weird directions that you're not sure you want to go. And you go, I don't really know if I am liking this, or I don't really know if this appeals to me or whatever. Like, but you just gotta go, you know what? Maybe you're going to tie it all together and it's going to work. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and be on for the ride. And I think that's important. I think sometimes, especially today in modern comics, because, well, there's so much trash. I think that a lot of fans oftentimes will like read like an issue and they'll be like, it just didn't grab me, I'm out. And you're like, dude, like, wow, like, okay, like sometimes it takes a while for something to hook. Like even Hawkman, which I love, that 12 issue story of Hawkman is just so great, fantastic for me. But the first 4 issues were just kind of meh, you know. Not that they were bad, but they were just a lot of setup. There wasn't a lot of action going on, and it was just kind of Hawkman running around doing some archaeological stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Um, but as it started to get tied together and some reveals, and I got invested in the character, and that's what Venditti's style seems to be for me. Much different than Jonathan Hickman, who's a very cerebral writer. Venditti's more of a old school classic character development, get you really invested in the person and what they're doing and why they're doing it and their motives. And then once he's got you there, it's like, all right, cool, now I'm going to push the plot forward and make you feel for this character as he faces the conflict. That's all what Hawkman is. It's a very basic story. Like a lot of people, you're not going to get a complex, metaphysical, mind-blowing story at all. It's very basic, but at its core, that's what makes it succeed so well, is the simplicity of it all. That you just, by the time you get to issue 6, which is sort of this setup, and then issue 7 is the origin, which is like all a flashback issue that goes and explains everything you've been leading up to and who Hawkman is right now. Now we're going to go back to the very beginning, show you, and you go, oh, dude. And now you're hooked on this character. The end of issue 7 is like, okay, this is what drives this character. This is what makes him. I'm sold. And then issues 8 through 12, it's just the roller coaster ride and facing the conflict, and just makes you want to cheer for the character. I'm done talking about Hawkman, but that's it. I really enjoyed this. Sorry for the delays again. I could apologize all night, and you guys know I could, but it's late enough. Thank you so much for being here, for enjoying the books. Hopefully 3 comics worked well for you. I don't know. If it wasn't too much, leave me feedback. If it worked out well, if it wasn't too much, because I don't want these streams to be too long. I think like 90 minutes is my goal. It's difficult when you're a long-winded bastard, but that's it. So Marani says, I'm not quite gone yet, but I saw the stream ending soon logo. Okay, yeah. So I put that up just so everyone kind of knows. It also makes me look at it and go, shut up, dude. You're just talking forever. It's great to see you guys. I'm glad that you've been very supportive, coming out, hanging out, talking comics, enjoying comics. This is fun for me. It's kind of therapeutic and a nice social outreach. And it's fun. It's just fun hanging with you guys. Skip, we had a super long conversation last night that was awesome. I stayed up way too late and I got way too little sleep, so I'm gonna wish you and Jimmy the best, if you or anyone else who goes in and talks, but I can't because I'm about to pass out. Love you guys. I'm gonna see you next